All right, we're on. All right, we're going to start the May 28th regular scheduled meeting of the Sewer Commission. In accordance with the requirements of the open meeting law, please be advised this meeting is being recorded and broadcast over Lunenburg Public Access. Quick announcement, John Reynolds is participating remotely for the first part of the meeting. He is on the phone. And town election results, Carl and John were both re-elected to 3-year terms, so congratulations, Carl and John. It's a tough race.
It was.
Nice job campaigning and doing all that good stuff. Q4 billing is out. And pool filling adjustments, not top-offs, and new lawn seeding, watering adjustment forms on the Sewer Commission website under policies and procedures. We anticipated excessive water use policy section. That's where it is. It's in the anticipated excessive water use policy section. So if you're filling your pool or you have new seed that you're trying to water, make sure you do the adjustment form so you're not getting charged sewer fees for the extra water being used. Oof. It's full.
Do you want to do a roll call attendance since you have somebody remote?
Oh, sure, yeah. We'll do a roll call. Joe Anderson is here.
Carl Luck here.
Ryan Stover here.
Joan Pease.
And John's on the phone.
John, are you there?
John's here.
All right. We don't have any appointments. I have another announcement. I have to leave right around 8 o'clock, just FYI. I know we're probably not going to get through this whole thing, but I won't be chair if I have my way, so we'll let somebody else worry about that. All right, no appointments. Any public comment from anybody? Come on up. Do we have a microphone? No, that's working. You want to just step over this, Matt?
Yeah, sure. Hi, Matt Allison, Flat Hill. I'm on planning board. I just wanted to make you folks aware that the Lonnie application, he had come before you folks before. He's on our agenda for June 10th.
Okay, cool.
And I've been taking a look at it. There's a number of APR parcels that are not too far from the existing sewer system. So I'm just bouncing around some ideas, and it's my strong opinion that it would help the town financially, economic development, and also a considerable amount of personal benefit coming from extending the sewer.
Yeah,
So-
I agree.
So again, two Mondays, June 10th.
Cool.
Thank you very much.
I appreciate it, Matt.
Thanks, Matt.
Anybody else public comment? Anyone on the board have public comment? All right, let's get right into it. Election of officers, we're going to do this first thing. John, I appreciate you calling up to be a part of this. So we had the town election, as we said. Carl and John are both on. So we'll just start taking nominations. We'll just start with chair.
Well, I would like to nominate John Reynolds for chair. I feel that John has a number of really important qualifications that would make him be a very positive chair, one of which is his ability to get along with everyone, even people he disagrees with, in a way that fosters teamwork. And he also was the largest vote getter in the last election, showing that the people have a tremendous amount of confidence in him. So I would like to nominate John Reynolds for chairman.
I would second that, assuming John would accept. John?
Am I supposed to say I accept at this point?
Yes.
Okay.
If you're
I accept.
Yeah.
Okay. Any discussion about John or any other nominees? All right. All in favor of John being chair? Aye.
Aye.
All right. Congratulations, John.
Thank you, John.
Take
So, Joe, I hope you're going to be around to advise me.
You don't want me to advise you, buddy. Try not to ignore as many Barb emails as I do is the best advice I can give you.
Okay.
And then get a new cell phone number because she'll text you. Now, yeah, of course. We all support each other. Of course I will. Vice chair? Anybody have any nominations for vice chair?
I would nominate John for vice chair.
Did you say John?
I think it's good to,
Did you say Joan?
I have been reluctant over the years to take chairmanship for various reasons, but anyway, I think it's good to rotate these through. The chair and the vice chair just basically set the agenda and run the meeting. We all have an equal vote, so I would like Joan to accept the nomination as vice chair.
Thank you, John. I'll accept that.
I'll second it. Okay. Any other nominations for vice chair? Any further discussion? All in favor of Joan being vice chair? Aye.
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 And John, I assume that's an aye because you nominated her.
Yes, sorry, that's an aye.
All right, and clerk. Any nominations for clerk?
I'll nominate Carl Luck, clerk.
I can second Carl. Anybody else, any other nominations for clerk? All right, all in favor, or I'm sorry, any further discussion about Carl? All in favor of Carl being clerk? Aye?
Does he accept?
Yeah, does he accept?
Oh, do you accept being clerk?
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
That would have been a discussion, I guess.
Yeah. All in favor? Aye.
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 Did anyone second it? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so Carl is now clerk. So we got John as chair, Joan as vice chair, Carl as clerk, me and Ryan as members. Just where I want to be.
I didn't nominate you.
I think I've made it very clear.
These are 3-month terms, right?
What's that? Yeah, 3-month terms. Yeah, we do it quarterly. We're going to rewrite the bylaw just for that. All right, cool. So we're going to continue. So now that John is chair, I know on the agenda we kind of said that we'd take over. John, I don't know how long you're going to be able to attend this on the phone. If you want to just pass it over to Joan.
Look, honestly, I believe that because I'm missing a lot of words, I would recommend that since Joan was nominated vice chair, that she run the meeting, and I'll stay as long as I can stay connected.
Cool.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, just a technicality, you're not allowed to chair the
Yeah,
meeting remotely.
I don't mean to put you on the spot,
makes it
John,
easy.
but
No, not at all, John. And
Okay.
and we're just finding out that you're not allowed to chair a meeting remotely anyway.
If I had known that, I would have been calling out this whole
okay,
time.
there, okay.
Just kidding. I enjoy being chair. I just don't have the time for it anymore, unfortunately. All right, Joan.
All right, next item on the agenda is the annual town meeting results, articles passed, budget article, the OPEB, and the transfer to capital reserves.
Can I just say one thing on the annual town meeting results? I thought it was great that Carl tried to get in there with the charter review stuff and add, and take the sewer commission stuff out of the town overseeing. I thought it was within scope, in my opinion. I know the moderator did, and he does a great job, so I just wanted to say, nice. It was a good effort. I appreciate you going out there and trying your best.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I was surprised he declared it out of scope, to tell you the truth,
Yeah.
and I wasn't in a position to fight at the time. And
Yeah, there was no need.
Although we were unanimous, it didn't feel it was strong enough to, put a big fight on town floor. So,
No.
thank you, John.
There was plenty of things to fight about on town floor that.
Yeah, exactly. We had to get on to the real fight.
All right, cool. Sorry.
Okay, no problem. Maintenance plan kickoff meeting review. So Kevin and Matt from Wright and Pierce were there. John and Al B. from Swiss were there. And Jack and Carl and John and myself were there. I thought it went very well. I thought everything that came up was really positive, and I thought we actually even made some progress towards direction that the Wright and Pierce will take. And I thought it was really quite productive. I was also really pleased to see that Swiss had already, on their own, begun to try and uniform some of the pumps, which is something Carl has been asking for a while. And Swiss has already gone out and started to do that with 2 pumps, simply by changing certain amperage. They were able to make them uniform for 2 stations, so we don't have to stock 2 different pumps.
Oh, that's good.
So I thought that was really positive.
That's great.
The 10 a.m. meeting.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, there's no chance.
Yeah, the only thing
Yeah, if I could just add, I was very pleased with what Small Water has been doing, and it was good to hear about it. And that sort of perhaps reinforced that maybe we should invite them to our meetings. I think in the contract it's quarterly. It doesn't have to be quarterly, but I think it'd be a good idea to get together with them a little more frequently than we have been in the past.
It's your call, man.
Yeah,
Yeah, I've recommended that too. I've been here over a year. I've never met him.
yeah. Yeah, that's good. I hope we can do that. The only unfortunate thing, which is only unfortunate for us and not Al, is that they notified us that Al, our key guy from day one, is changing jobs, so he's moved on
To a different company?
to a different company. Yeah.
no kidding.
Yeah.
Right, that is unfortunate, but I think I was impressed with
No.
John's handle of things, so.
Yeah, and Albie's, if I'm not mistaken, Albie's son was taking over, correct?
Right.
So he's got his father to train him and everything.
They show a picture of the cell phone when you talk, John. Sorry.
Yeah, we have you on the table.
Am I in FaceTime and I don't know it?
No, it's just a picture of a cell phone.
Not even close.
Nice job, guys. I'm sorry.
Sorry, look,
Oh, that's great.
we're on TV. We need to be professional.
I've never. It's not going to happen. Why start now?
Any other questions on the meeting, the kickoff meeting, or comments, Carl?
Just the only thing was, the only action item I can remember other than do the job was Small Water to provide the Excel sheets from the pump stations. Has that occurred yet, or?
Not yet. I did email Kim, who was taking over. Their normal contact was Jill, and she's moved on. So I did email Kim, but I haven't heard back.
And, yeah, and also Small Water exchanged business cards with Wright Pierce, and they were going to set up a meeting, the two of them,
Yeah, to visit the pump
to
station.
visit the pump
That's
station.
a great
So
start.
so I'm sure they'll touch base about that information during those meetings, too.
So could I, when you do get it, Barb, could you let me know, or just send me a copy of the spreadsheets? Could I take a look at them? Thank you.
Any other discussion on that topic? All righty. I&I, third-party RFP bid review and vote. We only received one bid as of 4/16. That's still true, right, Barb?
Yes.
And we have an evaluation process handout worksheet, which Barb gave out ahead of time. The name of the company is on the back, left-hand side over the chart. So we've got to find the one for Woodward and Kern.
And then the different categories, highly advantageous, not advantageous, and unacceptable, is listed out on the flip side, so you understand what it means to have each one.
Would you all like a second to review that, since we just got this?
Yeah,
You're good?
No, I've done it
Okay. Joe?
in the package.
Ryan? You're good? All right.
All right. This, you all got it electronically. Scott was
Yes.
good enough. Carl had asked for an electronic copy. So this is the hard copy. If anybody didn't get a chance to look at it, it is right here. So,
So do we discuss this, Barb, or do we just each fill it out?
nope. Carl, it's been a while since I've done this. Is this, I guess,
I think it'd probably be most efficient just to come to consensus on it.
I
There's only
agree.
one person.
I
that needs
agree.
One bidder.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, so the first one, criteria A, past successful experiences with I&I analysis. Woodward and Kern is one of the most respected environmental engineering companies that exist in New England, even beyond New England. Highly qualified company.
I would certainly agree with a highly advantageous. I mean, as I said, their reputation is pretty well known and documented in the proposal.
Any other concerns?
3 points.
We would go with highly, 3 points, yeah. Criteria B, quality and experience of firm's key personnel. I did look at all of the people that are on this project. They all did seem to have excellent, not only educational backgrounds, but also work experience in this area. A lot of work experience in this area. I was glad to see some diversity in the group. There was a woman involved. I would go with another 3. Any discussion?
I agree.
Criteria C, quality of written plan and extent to which it addresses the objectives stated in the request for proposals.
My feeling on that one would be more the 2. I think they met the requirement, but they basically fed back what we asked for, which was great. It was everything we asked for was there, but there really wasn't much beyond that. So I would have more put them towards the 2 points. There was nothing above and beyond that
points even to.
drive me to.
My only concern with that, and I pulled out my notes from the original meeting when all three engineering companies came in, is that, and I believe all three companies that we interviewed said the same thing at that time, that we got to be careful that we don't overkill this, that we want, and I got a quote here, most economical solution might be not to do a lot. We want reasonable expectations for our investment. We don't want overkill. So I was fine with what they did, but I'm also fine with the two if you can sort of give us an idea on what you're looking for, Carl.
It's not that I was looking for anything else, it's just sort of, I mean, they
They
checked the box.
met the requirement.
They met the requirement. They didn't exceed the requirement in my mind. Exceed the requirement would have put a little more detail and not doing more than what we asked for, but how they were going to do it, or anything a little bit more than
Right.
just
If
feeding
I
back
could
what we
add
asked for.
something here, I think, I went through the report, the proposal they provided, obviously was put together very well. But what it really comes down to is they met our basic requirements. All the companies we looked at are more than qualified to do what we're asking for. So I have absolutely no problems going with, Wood and Kern, but there was nothing beyond what we asked for, and I guess we shouldn't be looking for any more than what we asked for.
And it's not like 2
So
points.
they met our request.
Yeah, no, 2 points is a good score.
Fine, I have no problem with
It's met
that.
requirements.
Okay.
Yeah.
Two.
Just like when you get reviews of work, met requirements is good enough. Right?
Yeah,
You gotta do a whole lot extra to get.
I only met
Yeah, you gotta do a whole lot
requirements.
extra to get an extra point.
All right,
And then-
that's great.
And then D,
Is blocked out.
blocked out for 3 points. Does that mean it's blocked out for the whole thing?
No, commission will require personal interview and presentation that meet the above noted requirements, but I
Well, they
guess as
came
they
in.
were the only, they did.
Well, they
Yeah,
also
did.
said in the proposal that they were going to come and meet with us a couple of times, and they're going to only make a draft report until they meet with us, and then we're going to have input, and so, I mean,
So do we wait?
I guess I interpreted D differently. I interpreted D as, the verbal skills demonstrated in the interview, which I interpreted as when they came in and talked to us, was the interview. So when they came with the other three people, and they were...
Well, it says it's a qualifying interview. Wasn't that when they came in?
That's
Yes.
when they came in, right?
Yes, that's what it's called.
I don't know why is it blacked out?
Not sure
then?
why it's
'Cause you
blacked out.
I
thought-
think it's either advantageous or not advantageous.
So you only have.
Oh, it's either one or the other.
It's a pass-fail.
Okay,
Yes,
so
yes.
it's,
So
okay, it's
advantageous,
passed.
yeah. And they were... as-
Awesome.
as
They
good
were,
as
I
ever.
mean, they're...
Everybody was good.
They're awesome.
Cool.
Okay.
You want this one or you
Good
got
score.
it?
So that's the official.
You gotta go back.
Do it. All right, and then
Lug that back to the car.
as the non-price bid and then the price bid. So this is their pricing for that presentation. They break it up by employee, the total being $40,148.
Anyone have any questions? 40,148.
Just, I'm more interested in the breakdown of the
This is-
40,000 and how they came to it, and...
Here, well, I can read you the breakdown, would you like, or do you want me to pass
Maybe
it
just
around?
pass it around.
Okay. There's only one
We
here.
only have one copy, right, Bob?
Yep, one copy. It's on the
So,
bottom line.
can I ask a question?
Yes,
Barb or anyone else there, refresh my memory. What was our expectation as far as what we had budgeted for this? I don't recall the exact amount.
I
I
don't
don't believe,
think we budgeted this engineering activity, John, but I think we have in our budget monies for engineering reports. Am I correct? Bob?
Right.
Yes.
Right, but I don't have the budget in front of me, and honestly, I have to apologize. I don't recall what.
That's okay. Barb's looking it up right now.
right.
Go ahead.
No, just the issue is end of year and expenses. So I'm trying to pull it up, sorry. Goodness. End of year budget is what is the issue at this point. I've got,
It's just their billing rates for people.
Or if it's in addition to.
No, that's Phil.
Actually do the billing at
Yeah.
per rate.
we have 17,000
Right, no, I
left
know, but they
in
just said any additional
I&I
services
for
to
the
us.
year.
This is-
We have 17,000 left in I&I for the year, John.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or if they shift.
So weren't we going to pull some of this from next year's too? My, Barb?
Decision whether you're moving forward with it or not, too. I mean, you've got to make that decision, right?
What was the first step in the process? Was it a kickoff meeting or something? I wondered
This was a very casual, this was not a normal, this did not have all the dates and deadlines. This was more of a very casual, since the recipients kind of met with us prior. So it was not presented like, we gave them a deadline for the bids, but there wasn't a kickoff meeting or
First
something.
step, I thought, was to get together with the commission.
I thought that
From
was,
their report.
Their proposal, yeah. I mean, they did give us, they weren't magic, it's, pretty quick.
Yeah,
But
right.
I think they talked about collecting data.
I think I put. John's munching on something. John's eating snacks with the rest of the class.
we're all looking at it, John, trying to figure out exactly, Carl has asked if there's a kickoff meeting.
I thought we just said that they said they'd come in.
It is anticipated that the kickoff for the Lunenburg will be held within 1 month of the execution of the contract.
Yeah, so within 30 days.
So it would be FY '20 at that point.
Okay, so they said that their phase 1 would be an I&I study.
Okay, but if we move forward with this, we're committed to the total amount, not necessarily just committed to phase 1 and then perhaps the next phase or the next phase.
I think that the way I read the proposal that they sent out is it is a package proposal. It was not broken down into, you could do this, and then later on we'll do that, and later on we'll do that.
Right.
You know, it does say here, I think we will have a kickoff meeting. Woodward and Kern will hold a kickoff meeting with the commission to review scope and approach to this project, as well as collect valuable data for review. During this meeting, key members from Woodward and Kern and the town will discuss expectations, goals, and purpose of the study. Woodward and Kern will take this time to understand and gain institutional knowledge from the town on lessons learned from past studies. So, Woodward and Kern will prepare and distribute minutes of the kickoff meeting. But that's part of the whole package.
Right.
I continue, and I voiced this when we had the interview meetings, I continue to have concerns that were voiced by the engineering companies at that original interview meeting, that the most economical solution to this problem may be to plan for gradual rate increases, because we may spend more money studying it than that will cost. And I remember them saying that, and, you know, one of the things we said at the end of that is we wanted to have reasonable expectations for our investment. If we're going to invest $40,000, I mean...
Well, if you don't, but somehow we need to I mean, unless you want to just say, we don't care what the I&I is, and we'll just keep raising the rates
Well, that's not what I'm saying, because we are within the DEP limits. Presently, our I&I is within acceptable DEP limits. Also, the engineering companies, all three of them were there that night, said that compared to other towns, our I&I is within reasonable rates compared to other towns.
Yes,
And-
I absolutely remember that. They all pretty much said the same thing.
Right.
But my question still stands. So that still sounds like, based on those inputs, you're advocating we suspend further effort on I&I reduction.
I'm not advocating that we suspend it. I'm not sure that this investigation is a wise use of funds.
But this
And that's-
But this investigation is specifically targeted, and in their report, is specifically targeted to find out where in town is the I&I, so we know where to go, try to fix it. So if we don't do this, how will we determine what we should do next, assuming we want to reduce I&I and not just keep increasing rates?
Well, three things on that. Number one, we're within the DEP limits. Number two...
I don't know
Let
that
me
for sure.
finish,
Somebody
Carl.
sat in a meeting and said that, you know?
Let me finish. Number two, these three engineering companies all said we were within the limits of I&I for what other towns that they have worked with have. And they also said that the most economical solution might be to simply gradually raise rates, because we could end up spending a lot of money on this, and the words they used were, you could spend a lot of money on this and end up paying more than if you hadn't done this. Now, if we were outside, if these companies said to us, look, you guys are outside of what we see in other towns, I would be more concerned. But it could be we're going to spend $40,000 on this, and we're going to gain nothing except what we know, that we're within limits of other towns and we're within limits of the DEP.
I think you'll gain at least some knowledge about where it is and where it's coming from, at least.
You might, but they were clear that night. They said it's like
Right,
looking
look,
for a needle in
if
a
I-
haystack.
If I could add, Joan, I hear what you're saying, and you're absolutely right. What you're saying is exactly what they said, and we are within normal limits, which is great in the big picture. But if Leominster decided to start charging us for our metered output through Graham Street, how much more would that be per year, Barb or Carl?
John, you know, I was hoping to have done this calculation in my head again before you finish the sentence, but
Just a rough guess. I mean,
it was several $100,000 a year. I think it was
Right.
over a 20% increase in our rate,
Right.
and that might be conservative.
Well, and that is a valid concern. I mean, and the other valid concern that I have is there are environmental issues to not addressing I&I. So.
Thank you very much,
You know,
yes.
so I'm not 100% opposed to this, but I am proceeding with caution because of the fact that we are within the DEP limits, we are within, according to these engineering companies, within the limits that they see in other towns. So if this study comes up and gives us good information, that's great. But $40,000 is also a lot of money.
Yeah. Can I-
Yep,
can I speak now?
$40,000 is a lot of money, and I'm a ratepayer. But, you know, $200,000 is a lot more money.
Yeah.
And the $40,000 might give us some information to help us improve our system. It's a tough call. I think rates are going to have to go up eventually anyway, for various reasons. You know, additional spare parts, etc. You know, ideally, we would have gotten more than one quote. At this point, I don't know. Can we go out again? You know, Barb, you have a better handle on this, but Can we go back out for a quote? Is it, we have to take this one, or we can't move forward?
No, we have the option to say this would be rejected, but to go back to Woodard and Curran and try to say, the bid that you've submitted is rejected by the commission. However, we still would like this portion, and just deal with them that way. But this is the package, and it's either accepted or it's not. And we can either go out to bid for a portion of it and just try to do it piecemeal. I just
So
want to also put
that
in.
might be where, I know my signal is going to drop pretty soon, so I just wonder if that, what Barbara just talked about, is worth some further discussion.
I agree, John. And Barb has something else to say.
I just also wanted, I would love to have them also look, besides the actual pipes that we have issues with, the data. Like if we could take that portion and have, that one portion
Which
looked at.
pipe, Barbara?
Just the fact, our comparison tables, like Joan has said.
Okay.
Whether the data in is actually correct.
Yep.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, if I could now, address a few of your points. First, even assuming we're in line with other towns, I can tell you that other towns take I&I very seriously, are spending a lot of money to reduce their I&I. So it isn't like if we get to other towns, we don't have to do anything, right? And the state made us do all those reports recently because they want the towns to do more for good reason. Partially for your third reason, which is environmentally, us taking water from the watershed, right? Because that's what I&I is. It isn't water that's coming from the pump station, it's water that's coming from the ground or somewhere else, right? So, we shouldn't be putting that in the sewer, paying money to process it and putting it in the rivers. The other thing is, the comment about, well, it's probably cheaper, it's probably a better approach just to raise your rates. Don't worry about it. Raise your rates. That was one of the 4 companies who said that. One very outspoken representative who said that. The other 3 companies, we're not buying into that just raise your rate situation. So and the third thing is, assuming we're going to do something, the steps that we're looking at for I&I and what we've done in the past, the typical I&I reduction step for a year, the smoke test, 1 year we did the house-to-house, these are 1 year, $60,000+ activities, right? And the house-to-house is, well, let's take this area and maybe it's in this area and go look for it there and spend $60,000 at house and house, and maybe we'll find a couple of sump pumps, maybe we won't. So you got to do something up front, I think, to find out where should you spend that significant money. And this is the kind of thing. Now, maybe we could de-scope this a little bit. Maybe some of the truly historical portions of what they're doing to see if the data we've got makes sense in terms of the prior data, because part of this thing is go look at where we were in 2011 and look at what we've reduced and look where we are now, and does it make sense? Maybe that's not great value added. I don't know. Maybe we could de-scope that piece of it. Certainly the last piece, which is look at our current data, look at the next, look at the last year's worth of pump station data and in-out data and all that, which they're going to do, and see and map the town and see where it's coming from. That piece of it is extremely valuable and at least points you towards where should we go do the house-to-house, or where should we go do the smoke test, because it may be where we already were, because the assumption that we've got from Weston Sampson was, well, we've done that and we still got a lot, so let's go do over there.
Right, Carl, I understand that, because we're all under the assumption it's coming from the Whalum area, but that might not be the case. So.
Exactly, right, yes.
How do we legally, remember we had some problems with telling residents you have to yank up the pipe, and it's just cheaper for us to do it. There was a lot of talk about that.
That's a great subject. I think we should get on the agenda again.
Yeah, it's not on this agenda, but.
Yeah, but we should get on the, I'm glad you brought, we should get it on the agenda because, we can do things there.
But staying to topic here, what we are discussing now is reducing the scope of this.
the way
That's
to
what
go.
the topic on the floor is, not totally throwing out the whole thing. There are reasons to proceed with at least a portion, but maybe not the entire $40,000 package. And I believe that was John's recommendation.
Could they just adjust some of these hours? I mean, could you keep the whole package and ask them to adjust hours? Like, we're not gonna have an 8-hour kickoff meeting. I
But
don't
that's
think
their
it's gonna be-
preparation and their minutes for it after, Joe.
Yeah, still, you can ask them to reduce it. Is it gonna take 56, I mean, why is it data evaluation 60 hours and the final report's double that? I mean, I'm wondering if there's a way that they can reduce some of these hours.
Yeah, thank you, Joe, because I jumped right by that first normal step, which is question what they gave you.
Yeah. They also have
Look,
some
look,
cost
I think
plus
that's a
information
conversation worth having.
Maybe we can have them come in.
I don't know all the workings of what we can and can't do because we're a municipality, but if that's a conversation that we can legally have with them, I think it's one worth having.
I would be more comfortable with putting the ball in their court and saying, this is more than we had planned for. What can you do here to still identify where the I&I is and bring the cost down? They may, because they know what goes into each section of their work. We don't
Right.
know what goes into each section of their
Right.
work. And so I would be more comfortable saying, can you bring down the scope, de-scope it a little, or can you bring down the hours?
Look, I would be fine with taking that approach as long as obviously everything we're doing is above board and legal and appropriate and that kind of thing.
Yeah, I think, I think the combination of those two suggestions is the right way to go personally, of yours and Joe's. I think you sit down with them and have that discussion, understand what they gave us first, and then start to have a discussion with them about, here's our minimum goal, is
Yeah.
find out where we are, how can we massage this? And I don't think, Barb, correct me, but because this is an engineering contract, we've gone above and beyond the procurement requirements in this proposal to try to do everything, as good as we can. We
Based
don't
on
need
my
to do this.
understanding, yes.
So we could have them come in, we can negotiate this contract with them fully legally.
Can I just interrupt you, Barb? What's your take on
My
that?
feeling, I believe on a bid, you accept it or you deny it. And then you can, in the denial, say, we would more than welcome your coming in and discussing this, but I think you either accept or reject, unless,
I don't think you have to in this case. And
Well,
you can
let's-
check with
we all
Heather
think,
on that. I don't think you
but
have to.
Let's have Barb, if everyone is comfortable with this, check with Heather
Yep.
on whether or not we can have a meeting to try and understand the hours and see if there's any way they can make it a little more economical for us.
Mm-hmm.
And that might include a reduction in some hours with a small de-scoping of certain things that you pointed out, Carl, we may not need to have them do. But I would like to get a reading from Heather and make sure we're all above board. John, how do you feel about that?
I'm fine with that, again, as long as it's something that, we're allowed to do.
Right.
Yeah, I think the question, Heather, is really simple. Are we allowed to negotiate this contract?
Okay.
So therefore, we'll put this on the agenda for our meeting in, what is it, a little over 2 weeks? June 11th. June 11th. Is everybody okay with that?
So we're
Any
not,
more discussion on it?
so we didn't vote or anything?
I'm fine with that.
I think what we're going to do is we have a consensus that Barbara's going to ask Heather if we can negotiate. If the answer is yes, we can then take a vote at the next meeting to confirm that and then move forward.
No?
Okay. And my request is your absent chairman, that you all be there. Can I get a commitment from you all?
Nope.
I'm LOLing here.
I wasn't LOLing my nope.
Barring some unforeseen circumstances.
Yeah, I certainly plan to be here.
That's my mentality for everything. I always try and be here unless something comes up.
Ryan says he'll also probably be here, so he'll try.
My best.
Okay.
All right, so please put that on the agenda, Barbara, for the next meeting?
Yep.
And we'll review Heather's response. Everybody okay with that? Mm-hmm. All right, moving along. O&M contract, RFP bid review, and vote for Swiss. We have another worksheet for Swiss. Do the same thing for Swiss.
criteria, I didn't beat it.
John, we're going to go through the same process for Swiss.
Okay, it's getting harder for me to hear. If I could just like offer my general comments about Swiss. I think they've been doing a good job. I have no complaints. I was impressed with John at the last meeting that he is on top of things. He's being proactive. So in general, I would give them a positive review. I think the issue is more that I think there are times that we need to know more, and we should be inviting them more frequently than we have been. But that's just my general thought.
Okay. Criteria A, past successful experience with operations and maintenance. I feel that Swiss has done a really good job with operation and maintenance.
John's gone. Whose phone is this?
That's mine?
There you go, he's gone.
Oh, thank you.
I agree.
3, for operation and maintenance, A? Okay. Quality and experience of firms, key personnel. I think the personnel is great, and I'm glad to see them taking the initiative to do things like unify our pumps, et cetera.
I would agree, yeah.
Great. Quality of written plan and extent to which it addresses the objectives stated. I think that we probably could go with a 2 here. I think it's acceptable, but I think that there's room for improvement.
Yep, I agree.
And verbal skills demonstrated in interview, I would also go for a 2 there because I would like to see them come in at least twice a year. I'm not sure they have to come in every quarter. They talk to Jack all the time, and I think that's great, but I would like to see them in twice a year.
I agree, yeah.
2?
Yep.
Okay. You got all that, Barb?
I did.
Okay. Anything else on Swiss there? Open, non-bid, process evaluation, concerns that the scope matches the maintenance plan.
I haven't seen the bid.
Coming around. I just got 3 copies, so each table, share, each side share. And then it looks as if basically our scope provided. And then a bit more history of what they've been doing.
I have a feeling it's the same as it's been. Same exact thing it's probably always been, yeah.
Where's the price?
That's the important part. Oh, those are the-
Barb, on the,
Let's see these rates.
on the scope, at the meeting we were at, John made a comment about a 2-hour limit of something, and I don't even know what
I think
the-
that's maybe an internal thing. I didn't see that in our.
We don't have anything in here.
No,
Okay.
I think that's probably their guideline.
Because I'm not going to read every word sitting
No,
here.
no, I didn't. I just opened it
Barbara,
as
the
well.
rates in here?
Yes,
Yes.
Which page, do
page
you know?
12.
Page
So
12.
that's just an hourly rate and what they go up every year.
Yeah.
It's actually not, that's not that much of an increase every year. It's only a few bucks each.
They're, and just so you know, their
Might as well be 8.
3-year rate was 95,854.
What was
They're
that?
coming in for FY19. This is the 3rd year of their,
Oh, so the 3rd year of their contract?
yes, was 95
I was going to ask you
plus.
that. So this 927 is lower than the 95? Is that what you're saying?
There's not, the first year is 95,618, but that's,
Okay.
and then the generator is 9270, so there's a combo
Okay.
there to add together. I'm just going to do it quick. I didn't open this previously either.
So now I'm confused.
So total is 104,888 for year 1 with both generator and,
Okay, so this is not the
there another-
generator.
Is there
But
more
can you
to this?
stick with, but
Sorry,
I didn't
go
get the, this year's contract was
Yep.
how much, 95?
95,854. With both,
So-
including
and
both.
So this is 95.6 something, so it's basically flat.
No,
No,
because this
but
does not.
The 95.6
Oh, included
doesn't
the
include,
generator?
right.
So
So
what
you
is-
add 9270. It's a little further down. Page 12, are you on?
Yeah.
So is it,
We're
I'm
at
trying to
11.
understand this note, it says 5% monthly increase.
Are you on 12 or what
We're
page?
at
are you-
11.
Oh.
111.
Under the compensation.
Well, see, next page, go to 12, and you'll see year 1, 2, and 3.
Okay, but so what's this note mean? Because it says 5% monthly increase.
It's in the top of the next page, Carl, in the gray box, and then,
Oh, monthly fee increase. I think she probably meant yearly.
Well, it's important to know.
It is, but then she gives year 1, year 2, year 3.
so we need clarification on that.
Where are you looking,
Maybe
Ryan?
they
On the
just delete
top
that
of
note.
page
It's just
12, in the gray box,
Oh, okay.
monthly changes. They go up by month. Do the totals, about 2 inches down from there, do these totals reflect the monthly increases?
I don't see the increases. We're
The little gray box at the bottom of 11.
Bottom of
for an
11.
annual fixed fee of 95,618, which is 79,6819 a month. Where's the increase? Where does
Little
that
gray box,
increase?
little gray box.
On 11.
On 11,
the
bottom of 11.
I know, I saw that, and I can't imagine, I think
Yeah,
she's
but-
saying
That's what we're
based
saying.
on a
If-
5% yearly. She states what the monthly fee is, 7968 for year 1. I don't believe she's
Why don't we
increasing.
throw that box out? I mean, that box doesn't belong here.
Well, if it
Right.
goes up from year to year, down here too. It's okay if it goes up.
I understand the 3%
each year.
annual, that I understand.
Yeah. Can you get a clarification for us, Barb?
Absolutely can.
Because that would be an important thing to have clarified. Do we have to have this voted on tonight, or can this wait till the 11th?
Penned yeah.
Can you send us an electronic version so that we can all look at all the details before the next meeting? And so we have our questions ready?
Is this the only proposal they submitted?
The
Is this
only-
everything?
Yes,
Because I don't see the meter reading.
that would have been the next.
We really need time to go home and look at this, so can you hold that thought, and if she sends an electronic copy, can we
Yeah,
you can
all
keep that.
make our questions up? I
can
think
keep the hard
trying to
copy if
go
you
through
want.
it now is not a productive use of time.
I'll
we go to bed?
print it, yeah. It'll put you to
Next
sleep, that's
thing.
for sure.
So I'll let Ryan take this one, you'll send me this?
It's actually not ours.
That's true, that's true.
All right, so that's too
Barb,
much
can you keep
item
this
in
hard
this for
copy?
next time.
Yes, I'm going to keep one and
Electronic
send
will
out
still be
Joan
good.
and John and Joe.
Yeah, I need one too. Okay, we all going to put that on June 11th. Everybody good? All right, moving on. New irrigation policy and implementation discussion. Implementation discussion, list of considerations of implementation process. I believe Barb sent us out some things in the packet on that, right, Barb?
Yes.
Okay.
Can we talk about the policy first?
Okay, it's second on here, but
I
if
think
you
I
want,
think
we
it's
can...
It should be quicker discussion. I just hate to have a long discussion
But
first.
I-
and then,
All right.
to get to that one.
My feeling is the
the agenda, we gotta have
implementation
some
will
other-
affect the policy.
So
The implementation will affect the policy, like how we're,
Here, Will.
don't you?
Well, let's go with the implementation quickly as we can and try and keep our
Okay.
comments to a... All right, so it was in the packet, new implementation process. Did everybody get a chance to look at it?
Yeah, great
Discussion
Good
topics.
stuff.
And we have one major inspection with Gary Williams and a Lunenburg water person to check each meter to see what is needed, save on calls, administrative hours, or instruct homeowners to contact a plumber. So we have two choices there. I think if we're gonna go with the homeowners contacting a plumber, we should require they send in a photo. If there's, just take a photo of what you have so we have a documented record of what, because sometimes picture's worth a million words. But
I don't think everyone's gonna adhere to that. They'll find some excuse not to, they don't have a camera phone or no internet, I don't know.
Or they just do a Google image search of a good system and send it to you.
Yeah, we'll just Google search it.
So you'd be leaning towards more the sending to Lunenburg.
That's my time, someone's time.
Yeah, and I think we should be very cautious of what we commit the Lunenburg Water District to.
Well, that meeting Carl and I attended with the Lunenburg Water District, if we want anything more from them than what they have said they will produce, which is read the meter.
Right.
We're gonna have to pay them more.
Right.
And I think this is something the homeowner wants. This is not a necessity. This is a frill. It's a benefit we provide because there are some people who do irrigate their lawns, et cetera. So I think the homeowner should be responsible for producing the necessary information, and, you know, they need to take a picture, they need to take a picture. They need to produce a serial number, they need to produce a serial number. It's a benefit, it's something extra, it's not the base service of sewer.
Yeah, I guess the question, I mean, you always oversimplify these things when you envision them, and then you get into it, which is why it's good Barb did this. But we've selected a water meter that we're going to put in the policy that they need.
Right.
And it's really their job to get that new water meter put in.
Well,
So I'm not sure I
just
care what
point of
their current water meter
clarification.
is.
We just put a reporting head. They might still be able to use the same brass meter.
Right, and they can figure
But
that
it's
out
just
with
the
their plumber.
reporting head, right.
But when their plumber comes in and they say, I need to have this meter, the plumber can say, oh, you just need the head, or they can call Neptune and say,
Right.
what do I need? I'm not sure what, to us, any significance of their current meter is, why they need to take a picture of their current meter. Unless I missed something on that.
Well, where are they getting the reading heads from?
They're going to get the head itself, they're going to get the material itself, whether it's the head or the whole pump, through us from the water district. The water district
Right.
is stocks them
Right.
already. They're going to make them available to us at their cost.
Exactly. So I think that if you have a picture, you can say, this is what they have. And the water department will be able to say, oh, they didn't just need this, oh, they need that, to go with it.
But their
So
plumber
is-
can tell them that too,
That's true,
if they know what they're supposed to end up with.
that's true. But does everyone do what they're supposed to all the time? And
Well, I mean,
And just to save work on me and the water district, are they coming through me for me to relay the same request to the water district? And can it be one central, like one plumber or our plumbing inspector, where we can then go to the water district and say, okay, we're going to need 5 heads, 5 complete units, as opposed to coming at, because I don't know the equipment, and I would refer them to water district, but I don't think the water district wants to take that on. So it has to be
I feel like we've already outpriced ourselves on this irrigation thing to make it worth it for anybody anyways. I mean, by the time you get a permit and a plumber and all and the new meters and all that stuff, do you ever actually make your money back on these things?
if you're buying a house that you're going to stay in for several years, yes.
And you do a lot of,
But who knows if we change the policy again and make them do a new meter in a couple of years? I mean, who knows? This is just my opinion. I would never do it if I had an irrigation system. I'd just pay whatever extra it is. I mean, to be honest with you, it's probably going in I&I anyways. We're probably paying for it either way.
Yeah, I think, to Barb's point, we need the simpler the better, and the less interaction or information from us, the better. And I would hope that by specifying the water meter that they need, when they hire a plumber, come in, I would hope that the plumber would say, oh, you don't need the whole meter, you just need the head.
But to Barb's point, she said it would be, if I understand you correctly, Barb, it would be more difficult for her to be dealing with a bunch of different plumbers. So she was recommending that we, am I
Yeah.
understanding you correctly?
trying to,
Yes. So she recommended here maybe we use Gary Williams, or one person who will they will contact to do this, so there's some uniformity in the way she gets the information.
I would be very
Nah, you
reluctant
can't
to
do
tell
that.
people what.
You
what
can't do that, yeah.
contractor they need to
Yeah,
use.
it's just like us trying to bid stuff. You can't just be like, you have to use,
Right.
you have to use this meter, you have to use this guy. It's like, oh my
Or-
God,
or
you're
the water
over-governing the whole thing. It's crazy.
Right. Okay, but that's.
Or some contact at the water district. It's just, I'm going to have questions, I'm going to relay them, I'm going to refer plumbers to the water district. It's just, there's a lot of
Well,
referrals.
Wait a minute, wait, the plumbers, we cannot ask anything of the water district. We cannot be,
Well, I need to order parts from them.
you can order the parts, but you can't be referring people's questions to the water department. They are not offering that service.
No, but given my past experience, plumbers have a lot of questions as to the makeup of the meters. I will not know those answers. The water department will know what their radios will read.
After our meeting, Carl, I am reluctant to put more pressure on the water department.
Yeah, and I don't see why we should. If we,
I don't
because
see
we're going to
why we should
specify
either.
a
They look it up.
specific meter. I mean,
Okay.
today I can see a lot of issues because we don't define the meter. So
Right.
the customer can go get whatever meter he wants, and then there's all kinds of questions. So we're going to tell him, you need a Neptune model so-and-so, right? And that the plumber should understand that. And I don't know how many questions he should have, other than, where do I get it?
Well,
Easier to
I
come-
also think we can give them a Neptune link. I don't think that's a horrible thing for us to do.
Yeah, no, I would hope a good plumber would.
To provide them with a link to the appropriate meter so that they can read about it.
Yeah.
I think that we could do that for customer service.
I would hope, and maybe we put a little bit of burden on Neptune, because they were big on us doing this. So, and they have a sales guy, they could contact Neptune directly and say, the plumber can say, we got this meter. Do I need the whole thing? Do I need a whole unit, or can I get by with the head?
I like that. That's a wonderful
So
idea.
Barb can refer him
you-
to the sales guy.
Any referrals?
Yeah, they're the ones making the money off
freaking.
freaking thing.
Contact them ahead of time and
You
tell
gotta earn
them we decided to go with this.
Although they might won't answer after a while.
We're going to need you to provide some customer service to our users who want to install this. Can you give us an email address and a link we can refer people to who have questions?
Okay?
Thank you.
We need to define, the first step is to get the water district to tell us what it is they want. That'll be our first step, because we don't have a model number yet.
We don't?
So, nope, not
have
that I
quotes?
perceived.
We have quotes?
Yeah, but
We
we
have-
want to make sure she's saying we want to make sure it's copacetic with the
Yeah,
water
okay,
department.
we
So-
check it, but we.
So then that would be another thing for you to do, to contact April and get the model number, part number,
Yep.
and the name of the part, and then contact the sales agent. Good point, Carl, excellent suggestion. Tell him we've decided to go, and we need him to provide an email and a link for people who want to install it. Okay?
Yep.
Thank you. Anything else on implementation? Well, there's, discuss the process with the Lunenburg Water Department. Barb, you want to elaborate on that?
Okay. First steps would be just that, determine the transition phase, and this goes on that policy also. Just year one, is it July 1st of 2019? And then effective year two, we don't give any irrigation credits unless they comply? Is that what we're saying?
What we had discussed way back when, that it would give them a year to either decide it's not worth it, or
A year from telling them which meter.
a year from telling them which meter, right, which is whatever the
And how are
date
we
is.
going to tell them?
Probably
Is there going to be
2021
an
by the time
enclosure in
we-
their bill? I mean, how is this information going to be delivered? Because if there's a deadline of a year,
Yeah, mail
we
it.
want to make sure the information is delivered in a way that everybody,
You should do it the same way we do policy changes. Have 3 meetings with it on the agenda 3 different times and send out mailers.
and send out letters.
Yeah.
With the bills?
Yeah, it wouldn't, it's work, but I mean, I don't know how many pages to send the policy to each of the current meter users, right?
Yeah, but I don't think it's a bad idea to have it on the agenda.
Yeah, no, I think both, so they have an
Yeah,
agenda and could.
Because you kind of, is it 2 hearings?
2 televised hearings.
How many irrigation meters are there?
Like 7. I think there's 50. I think it's like 50.
Yeah.
I think we should have it on as many certainly televised ones as possible to catch as many people. I don't think we should restrict ourselves to 2 or whatever. It could be under announcements or something, just remind people there's a new meter policy. We should send them out.
Bills.
To people. Not with bills, in advance of bills, because it's going to be effective
It's true.
soon.
As soon as we implement it, they should go in the mail.
Yeah, I
And
think
it
so.
should start going on to agendas.
But if it's a public hearing to change policy, and we need to publish it in them.
But
the
so
policy
I'd like to
changed,
discuss that, though, because we've already had the hearings.
Yeah, this is just to notify that,
This is we had hearings per our policy,
Right.
gave
but we
people a
never-
chance to listen. We've had a draft policy. As a result of those hearings, we're now finalizing the policy and issuing it.
Right.
That's the normal process.
right, yeah, the agenda notifications would just be to tell people what the meter is, because they're gonna have a
I think the
year.
agenda item should be more of an educational item, so that people aren't confused with it being a hearing, because I agree with Carl completely on this, that we already had the hearings.
Right.
Yeah, we did.
We did already have the hearings.
Yeah.
So I think the agenda item should be a question and answer session about new irrigation meter policy. I agree it should be televised meeting. I think 1 is sufficient, since we've already had the hearings, and mailing out the policy in addition.
I would say at least 2.
Yeah. Why not? I mean,
Two televised.
They don't cost anything, 2 televised.
It's fine.
Because then after 2, you only got 10 more months to switch.
And we could put that in the mailing. So when we decide the policy, hopefully tonight, we could prepare the mailing. In the mailing, we can say we're going to have this on the agenda.
Question and
on these
answer sessions. Yes.
two sessions, and you're
Yeah.
welcome to come with whatever questions you have.
Right,
And
but I think we need to be clear, it's question and answers. And not-
questions, answers. Yeah. This is they've already got the
Right.
policy. Here's the
Right.
policy.
Right.
And maybe Heather can put it on like the official Facebook page and all that stuff too.
Yeah, there you go. Good.
Barb,
Okay,
discuss process with Lunenburg Water District?
that was what we were
Okay,
talking
you're
about,
good with that?
how we're handling that. Yep.
Okay. Determine process when new properties want to install irrigation? So,
Wouldn't it just be the same thing? Here, you gotta get this meter and then just explain it to them?
I'm sorry.
Wouldn't it just be kind of like, this is the meter you have to use, and it's just explaining what the process,
yeah,
the
I think
program is?
that they get a copy of the policy, they get a small paragraph with the name of the meter, the model number, the email of the rep, and that's it.
And the implementation,
Yeah. And
Yep.
we
Okay.
keep it simple,
yeah.
okay? Anything else on there, Barb? Because I know you're going to be our point person with the public. You want to discuss?
Lucky Barb.
Just trying to, where were you with?
I feel like I'm wicked loud here. I feel like this thing's wicked loud. Like echoing like crazy.
I kind of went through that quick
Okay.
because I thought a lot of those things are repetitive, but if there's something in there that you feel is really important, or meanwhile, if any of the rest of you are looking at Barb's notes and there's anything in there that you want to comment on,
Nope, doing good.
I'm good.
Yep, and then my implementation, are we involved when the plumber does the work on site? If not, how do we advise the water district that there's a new irrigation meter that will be coming up on
Okay,
their
so
program?
that's a valid point. How do we know that there's a new meter
And how do we let them know?
that is correctly installed? Do people have to tell Barb, what will people do to let Barb know that they're online, ready to go?
Well, first they have to fill out the application.
Yes,
So that's how we know they're,
that's how we know they're thinking about it and working on it. What will happen when they're ready to be
No,
read?
they notify us, and
And
then,
how will they notify us?
but the application.
well, how do they notify us now? What do they do?
just Talk to Barb.
They'll do the same
The
thing.
application has a sign-off. They have to provide a signed-off plumbing.
It's not even, I mean, yeah, when it's done, they're gonna tell you, because if they don't tell you, they don't get the credit. So
Yeah.
you don't have to worry about people not telling you about it.
Right. We don't have, there isn't a formal application at this point, so we'll have to.
We should have some, little- it doesn't have to be much, but,
Right.
numbers that we
What I'm saying
need and so forth.
But that's what I'm talking about here. There has to be some way, exactly what you're saying, some little thing that,
Yeah, it has to be something, and we, really, it's not one of these cases where you get a building permit and then you put the building online. They shouldn't come to us with their application until it's all ready to go, because we're gonna start billing them once we get that application. I mean, it's
Crediting.
done, right?
Crediting them.
okay. So the turning in of the application should answer those questions you have on there, Barb.
Should. Let us know if it doesn't.
Yeah, and on the bottom of the policy, there was a whole section about what should be on the application. We can
Yeah, I was
go-
gonna say, there's definitely stuff in the policy about this.
And
Unless we wrote the
so,
worst
Barb,
policy
how are you
ever.
doing on this? Do you have any more questions?
Yeah, I just had confirmed with Gary if a plumbing permit is required for this work, and the cost is so that when we do send out a mailing, we have some kind of, a ballpark.
You're going to confirm, or you did confirm?
No, this is all just.
Do we
going
want to
to-
get involved in the cost of installation, or do we want not to leave that up to them? Barb is
I'm not getting
saying-
involved.
I don't think we should get involved in the
agree.
cost of installation. I don't think we
agree.
should, that's up to them to work out.
Vary from house to.
It could
Yeah.
vary from house to house, because someone may have just a piece replaced, someone may have an old pipe that is locked on that has to be cut. I mean, it could be, I don't think we should get involved in the price. They have to get their own prices.
Okay.
Yep.
Letter to all irrigation meter customers, new fee in the policy. Makes it a requirement for the new meters, transition implications, like you can have a year. Plumber contact info, I won't worry about. Recommend the upgrade because we heard at one of the meetings that the meters never read less. They never read more than the actual. And the fear is that they've got these old meter heads and could get greater credit. That was, I think, from Fran, was from,
He thinks the old meter heads.
yeah, he was just saying that it should be a better credit if they upgrade their meters.
Oh, so they get a better,
More accurate.
they get a better crediting. I gotcha.
Yeah, because his comment was, because we kept talking about questions on readings, and he said, since we've gone to this new system that you're going to get,
Yeah,
there are no more
should
questions.
be no questions and it should be a greater credit to you. All right, contact, plumbing, review policy, okay.
Good.
And then advertising, which is what we're gonna do with meetings, okay.
Yep.
Yep, thank you.
So now we have to go to the policy review,
Right.
meter policy review, which Barb also had in the packet.
Yes.
Everybody got it?
Got it.
Yeah, and after going with this latest change to the water district, it did change a couple things, so that's why I made some changes to
In
what.
red.
Yep.
Yeah, to what you had seen.
Okay.
You're just asking people what their comments are.
Yes.
I don't have any comments down to the paragraph that's meter requirements and fee. I'm okay with
My
anything
only
above that.
comment above that would be where we say Neptune meter. If we're going to have the salesperson's contact in here, should we put it in here?
In the policy?
The policy?
No.
No, okay.
Nah, no, don't put names in policies, and they leave, you have to change the policy.
Maybe,
Okay.
maybe the application form, because
Yeah.
we can easily change that.
Okay. Carl, meter requirements and
Okay.
fees?
Yeah, in there, the red where it says and/or the Lunenburg Water District, I don't think we should have the
What
Lunenburg
section?
Water District in there.
Meter requirements and fees.
Okay.
He doesn't.
Must comply with all the requirements set forth by the sewer commission, period,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
or be as specified in the irrigation, okay.
Yeah, just get them out of there. Because that could make people,
Yeah.
exactly. You see the water department on there, you're gonna contact them too.
They're gonna bill for the town.
Or just get really bad. Yeah, no need to add work to other departments.
I was okay with everything else, and I just have one other comment once we get done with everybody else's inputs.
Go ahead, Carol.
Telling them how to get into this program, but we're not addressing how they get out of it. And I'm wondering if we need just a short statement.
Like if they don't want to do the irrigation meter thing
Okay, I'm
anymore?
done, it's not worth it to me anymore, it's broken, and I don't want to pay fixing it, and I'm out. There should be some process for them. Otherwise, we'll just keep billing. Per this, we would start charging them, because...
Yeah, they get the $50 fee
Because
every
they
year
got no
because
meter
they didn't
reading.
get the
and-
credits.
Right.
I think it would just be as simple as just emailing.
Yeah, it
No, but we
should be
need a
something in
sentence in here.
If you
We need a
want to...
sentence in here.
Contact, if you want to
And it
opt.
needs to be in advance of a billing, so it really does, it needs to be specified, as opposed to just email me.
Right, I agree.
Because otherwise, we could be starting charging. So say 30 days prior to that June date.
Is 30 days enough, or should it be 60 days?
Well, if we're going to start implementing a fee in 2020, just say that we need to receive your termination from the program.
Withdrawal from the program.
Withdraw from the program 30 days
No,
prior
prior.
to next
by
billing
June
date?
1st,
Or
Or
by
just by June 1st, 2020.
June 1st, 2020?
Sooner.
No, but this should be more, it should be more generic, 'cause
I agree
it's
with you,
not
I
just-
agree.
It should
Because
be
what if
anybody.
they want to pull out another year?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is it should be by June 1st every year,
Or
or
30 days, 60 days.
30 days prior to the-
60 days prior to
The next quarterly billing.
the next quarterly building. Are we all okay with 60 days prior to the next quarterly building?
Except they're going to have no clue when that is.
Well, they get
If
their
they get,
bills
if
every
they get
quarter.
bills, I hope so. If they're looking at their bills.
Okay. Yeah.
So withdrawal, just withdrawal from program, is
Yep.
that the next thing?
Requires notification of the sewer business manager 60 days prior.
Written notification?
To the
Did you say
next-
written? I didn't hear. Written notification?
Written notification. Right, Barb? You don't want a phone call?
No.
A written notice.
In written meeting, they can send you an email or send you a
Email us.
letter or something like that. Tweet you. Send you a tweet on Twitter. Good enough.
No twits.
No. No twits. That may be a different thing.
That was all I had. Otherwise, looks good.
I think it looks good with Carl's modifications.
Sure.
Cool.
And we'll get the model information in there.
You need a vote on that?
Sure, if it's a new
I'll
policy.
take a motion.
Excuse me? Okay.
Is this really a point of order?
Oh, I'm sorry. No problem. Oops, sorry.
Dave Passios, 56 Whiting Street. I was going to wait till public comment at the end of the meeting, but where it appears you're going to be voting on accepting a new policy. It was my understanding the last policy meeting, policy hearing that you had on this that I attended, that your board policy was that any vote or any change in policy would be brought to a public hearing. Now, this policy has been modified multiple times since the last time I was here, and I was going to ask for the dates that you're saying you had public hearings since that one, which I believe was about a year ago. So I don't think it's appropriate to vote to accept this policy this evening. In your agenda, the previous two items say review and vote. This one, and all I've seen over the past year, unless I missed something in agendas, was discussion of this policy, not a hearing and vote. So I'm concerned that your own policy is being broken if you vote on this tonight. Thank you.
If I could, acting chairperson. First, we did have two hearings. It's not unreasonable or uncommon or against any policies, I don't believe, to take the information from those hearings and then go finalize a document. and not have to go through the whole hearing process again. You'd have the hearings to get information, to tell people what you're doing. I think this is the first change I've seen since the hearing, quite frankly. And all of these changes, the changes are, putting in the date for the effectivity, right? We've modified that. The other changes are relative to what stopped the last hearing, and I wasn't there, but I watched it on TV. What stopped last hearing, I thought, was we didn't want to go forward until we knew what the meter was.
That's exactly
right?
correct.
That was
exactly correct.
That was the main open
That
item.
is completely correct.
So the only changes that have been made here were the result of deciding on which meter. When we decided on that meter, that pulled in some implications from Water District, which we've, fine-tuned the policy to be consistent with that. So I don't think there's any substantive changes here from your hearing. I think there's finalization of some dates, because now time is gone. You can't have it effective in reverse. So I don't think we're violating policy. The other thing, to your other point, Mr. Passios, regarding the fact that we didn't put and vote here, we had a discussion on adopting the same statement that the Board of Selectmen adopted and the Conservation Commission adopted, to put on here that just sort of belts and suspenders protects for that. But we've
Adam
also
said
got the...
Our
Go ahead.
counsel said we don't need to put that on there, that as long as the topic is on there, we're okay. That would be Adam Costa, the town attorney, was also reviewed that with us and said we don't need to put it on for every time. I agree with Carl. The changes we made to the original policy, Dave, and I feel like I'm talking with my back to you, which is rude, but I have to be by the microphone. The changes that we have in here from our original policy are we are specifying the meter. When we did the original policy, we weren't sure which meter we were going to have. The other changes, we found that the meter we selected can be read by the Lunenburg Water District. So the original policy also did not mention the Lunenburg Water District. And then, as Carl has said, we have added dates, times, and tonight we added a withdrawal from the policy statement. But we did have not one, but 2 hearings on this.
If I could, I'd like to have that date so I could review it. Now, I guess the other question is, I'm assuming it was at least recorded, if not videotape?
Yes, we only do it televised here,
Okay.
so.
Yeah, it was in
So I
this
can go
room.
back and review
It was in
that.
this room. But you are correct that it was some time ago.
I think it was January-ish.
October, November.
Was it October, November? I thought we had.
It took a
I thought it was pretty
while to
recent.
do a thorough research of the 2 different options for meters, and
Right.
we really delved into this. We
Oh,
spent an enormous amount of time trying to figure out which was best for our users, and that was one of the things that took the time.
I don't disagree with that statement at all. I do recollect, though, that back at that hearing that was published as a public hearing for that subject, that the possibility of partnering with the water district had not been approached. All of that was done after that hearing. So
I think that's correct, because it became dependent upon the meter we selected. And since we were still researching the meters, that's a integral part of the meter. In other words, the meter would be useless without the water district most cooperatively and graciously offering to help us out with this.
Yeah, and the other fine-tune to that same subject was, right up until that last meeting, even the prior hearing, and the drafted policy, the decision was going to be that we weren't going to put the meter in the policy at all. We were going to say that you had to have a meter that met the requirements stated elsewhere. So pulling the meter into this policy, was was done at the last minute, and but now that we pulled the exact number in, then we got to make that change.
And
put
we
it in
do
there.
that for the convenience of the user.
Exactly.
Instead of having several different places that they have to go to get the information. They have one place, and one piece of paper. It's going to have all the information on it. So hopefully it will be more user-friendly.
And we're sensitive to that there may be people out there waiting to put a meter in that are anxious to get this policy released. So we're very anxious to finalize this policy
Well,
rather than go through, because here, if we had to go through hearings again, that'd be another 3 months at least.
3 or 4 months, and we're getting close to the,
Well, I respectfully disagree with your stand, but that's your prerogative. I know the Board of Health is in the process of working on some similar things that we may or may not do here in the near future, and we were advised that we would be required to have a public hearing to approve the finalized adjusted policies. So I'll leave it at that. Thank you.
Thank you.
The two dates were October 30th and November 27 of the public hearings, Dave. October 30th and November 27.
okay, are we ready to vote on this? Or not?
I am.
I'll take a motion.
I move that we approve the irrigation meter policy as amended 514 with the modifications made this evening.
Yes.
I'll second.
All in favor? Any more discussion?
Good job.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I gotta go. I go back to
Anybody
work.
opposed?
Come on, yeah. I gotta go. Back to work. See you guys.
See you, Joe. Thank you for sharing.
Let's take a look at the rest of the agenda. And I'm thinking another half hour.
Sounds good to me.
So is there something in there that we want to make sure we hit, or?
I really need that June audit. I need to determine if we're going to do audits, because we will be sending out our annual permit letters by July 1st for an 8-1 renewal, and we need to know whether there's compliance issues or not.
Well, let's do that then.
Let's do that. So which one is that, Barb?
That's the next one.
Oh, grease traps,
Grease
yes.
trap.
Okay.
John, he was tasked with coming up with scopes for the audit, which he provided today.
I could tell.
And then I got a few clarifications. I asked who was doing the audits. And he was, the bottom line is, it works if the commission can choose an agent, if one of the members can be an agent, or if we're going to go with Smallwater or Jack, or who we're planning to have do the audits. But if we're going to do it as an internal, like a commissioner is going, that he thought there should be a vote as to who would be the agent for the commission.
I don't think we should have the commissioners doing this. I have no opposition to a commissioner accompanying someone from Smallwater or what we pick, if we so choose to vote a person to do that. And I do think it should be a vote, as John said. But I think we should be having Smallwater make the inspections. But that's open for discussion.
Did we hear from any establishments?
And we did send letters out saying we were planning to.
Carl?
I'm not just trying to save our users money by not hiring somebody to go do this, but I'm not sure what a Smallwater or anyone like that would bring to this.
Okay.
I mean, it's a data review.
Well,
You know, it's not, if we're going to be, like we used to, open up,
Yep.
the manhole, do an inspection, open up the grease traps, then, yeah, that's a professional thing. This is a quality audit. This is, is your quality system in place? And I think, I'm just not sure what, John, as good as he is, or anyone's going to bring to this.
What do you think, someone from the
My proposal is that
DPW?
No, I think two commissioners. I don't think it should be one person for sure. You need two people, but I think two commissioners. I don't know, John would be an excellent one because, you know, he comes from the quality world, so he understands audits and all those things. I mean, I certainly do because I've been audited enough when, you know, when I was in work. But it's, you know, it doesn't have to be me because we have the policies, they have the documents. It's really more being rigorous, and I think we're more than capable of doing that.
I would like to get a legal reading on that. I mean, it could be it's fine, but on-site visits, I would like to run it by Adam, just to see if he says that our charter is cool with that. And I can see issues with commissioners going on-site, and, you know, let's just run it by him. What harm is there to get a reading? And if he, you know, if
Well, the
there's
harm
some-
has been historically, the harm has been delay with no value added. And in this case, we're a little bit, you know, under the gun here because we're trying to time this with the notifications. We have historically done this. We, you know, commissioners have gone, John and I have gone, and, you know,
I
visited
couldn't
people.
vote for anything like that without a legal reading on that. I would really have to have Adam tell us that, yes, you can go on-site and evaluate the data on-site.
I think it changes the composite, like when you go out to eat now. I don't want to go in their kitchen. I don't want to be that guy.
I agree with Ryan on that. I think I see three things here. I agree with John that whoever's going to go, if it is a commissioner, should be voted on to go. I agree with Carl, it should be a minimum of 2. I agree with Ryan that it's kind of outside of the sitting around the table making policy. It's a whole different thing when you're going in somebody's kitchen. And I personally would like to get a reading from Adam on how he feels that dovetails with our charter.
Okay. If we
Okay.
have an answer by the 11th, and it's hopefully the answer is we can, you know, and we could get 2 commissioners out in the next week or 10 days, then we're okay. If
yeah,
it's
so I guess
small
that's
water,
what's
it
the
is the
timeline?
issue.
So when would the visits be, do you see? So it'd be between the 11th and the what?
21st. I'm trying to
21st.
say the 21st should be,
Yeah.
because I've got
Okay.
to get them.
So we're
fine.
asking Adam, is there any problem with commissioners going on-site to evaluate data?
And have the answer for the 11th.
Yes, please.
There might be some insurance regulations.
That's exactly what I'm concerned about, yeah.
It's like
So,
going to my garage, it's employees only.
yeah.
Right,
So
but it does
just-
say in the grease trap regs that it's the sewer commission or its agent, so,
Yeah,
Yep.
that's a good point. It's in
Yeah,
the regulations.
And
So make sure
Adam
to
has
point
all that data, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
So
excellent.
okay. I mean, it's in the regulations. I'm not sure what.
And
but,
the rest
okay.
of this grease trap thing, I don't know how you guys feel, but since John created it, I'd like John to be here when we talk about it. I'd like to go
Yeah,
on the agenda for the next meeting, because we're going to have Adam's reading there anyway.
11th, yeah.
You know,
And I
and-
looked
and-
at it and it looks fine, but we
But
can do
exactly,
it all on the
but,
11th.
you know, John has in his head more than he's written down here, so.
There's a hand back here.
Yes. Can you come on up here, please? And I'm sorry to have my back to you and not see you.
I'm sorry, Matt Allison, Flat Hill. We do have Jim Gareffi is a Board of Health agent, right, from Neshoba. Wouldn't he be appropriate to send out on sites? He's a registered sanitarian.
we've reached out before, and it hasn't been something that they were wanting to do.
Of
So it
course.
would be nice, we would love it if he
Yeah,
would.
yeah.
Well, I did call the health
Yeah, yeah,
department, and I did speak to him, and he said it's not his purview. So we
Yeah.
did check that, thank you.
Good point, though.
Okay, so another thing for
Okay.
June 11th.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the other one, that was at 25 minutes.
Yeah.
Or we retract. Well, it's actually the next one anyway. The solar credit program.
Can I just stick with grease traps? I have a quick question.
Your first Tuesday report.
First Tuesday, I've got, the Cabobolicious is in non-compliance. I've only received an email from them saying that they've been closed all of 2019. And I've asked for them to send, you know, a couple times, please send us the formal thing. My question is, they haven't, so I could go back and charge from April 2nd on $25 a day. I wanted the commission's
Are
input.
they reopening? What's no one knows?
There's no correspondence besides we've been closed. So,
One email since April.
yeah.
Yeah, it's quite a bit. My recommendation would be that we respond to that email, because the email said we're out of business, basically, right? And just to say, in receipt of that we now understand you're out of business, we're going to suspend the finding. However, if that turns out not to be the case, we reserve the right to retroactively assess fines.
Can we go a step further and say, we are notifying the health department that you have notified us that you are closed? We are pulling our
Well, there you go.
permit
Well, there you
to
go.
discharge.
Perfect.
We don't even, it's done. You don't have and any discharging in violation of not having a permit will result in hefty fines.
I like it.
Yeah, that's good.
I like it. That's even more,
Okay?
I just figured if you're going out of business, you'd be over communicating.
Yeah.
mm,
Okay. Anything else on your first Tuesday? No, that's it. Okay. Solar credits. Carl?
no, I just wanted to get to that item because it's important. Barb's had some information that was in the package.
Yes, I did get, Heather had wanted to check, I had communicated with Nexamp that that the commission wanted to proceed individually. And, sorry, I ran it by Heather, and she wanted to run it by council, and council came back and told her that the commission can't.
Can or can't?
Cannot.
Cannot.
So she said, I think I copied everyone on the email, that she's going out to all the town departments to get all the data. So the plan is to move forward, but she was not in favor, nor was our council, of us proceeding individually.
Which is fine. I don't care who signs the document. The only question is how quickly can she sign the document? I'm not sure why our pump stations should have to wait for the rest of the town. I mean, because they can be done, as far as I know, they can be done independently. It's a separate, maybe, why can't it be done? My question to Heather would be, why can't the town proceed with the 10 pump stations while they're gathering all their other data? Because that data gathering has been going on for many months.
Can we ask Heather for a timeline? Just ask her for a timeline. And then if it's not going to be something that we can live with, we can work with it after that, okay?
And in order to make that decision, it would be good to get the timeline on when's the soonest credits could be realized.
That's what she had, Barbara.
Be- Because, if whatever the program that we're now talking about, because it's not the one that we tried to get waitlisted on, we're talking about the other program, if that program doesn't start giving credits until a year from now, then time isn't of the essence. But if that program starts giving credits in September, then us getting going is important, could be important, that's all.
So it might be when we get the timelines, we're all set.
So it's a timeline of the
So,
town's activity plus the
Right.
timeline of the
Right.
solar.
Solar credit, when the solar credit would start.
Okay?
Okay? Now, I don't know if you want to vote on minutes for 4:30 because I was not here, and therefore I would abstain. I don't know if 2 people is enough to vote on them, so I think we should
I didn't see them in the package.
They should have been.
draft minutes.
I missed those, so I didn't see 4:30 either.
So we'll have to table that till next time.
Right.
Business manager report?
Have been trying to get the meter import set up. Ran out of time. I've gotten about a third of it in, but I feel like that's actually a good start to actually do trial import. I've got the meter IDs in, and as I put them in, there's questions that come up. So it's a good little test. I'll finish doing the update with the IDs, but it was long, drawn out, and it delayed my billing getting out. So I needed to stop it and proceed. So not yet complete. I assume we'll try it again for the Q1 bills.
But
So,
you're feeling better about it, sounds like you're.
yeah,
Making
except
headway.
that it was, feeling better, but came up with more questions. But it's good. Here today, I was working to get the bills out up until about 5:30 this evening. So my year-to-date budget, there has been no changes. There's no vouchers produced for this quarter. I will have a year-to-date for the next meeting. And anytime if you want a copy, I can send you what I currently have, but I think I had it for the last meeting anyway. Invoices, I have 2 for Fitchburg and Leominster. We're running out of time. I don't know, it's up to you.
Yeah, we have executive session, too.
I know. So, yeah, it's just one initial from Joan, I guess, for the Leominster Fitchburg invoices. Let me find out what the amounts are so I can
Just
tell you.
initials?
Yep. And it is basically what we provide them based on our billings, so it's not like they've come up with a new amount, so it's what I expected. Fitchburg's 13,631.98, Leominster is 62,948.15.
Okay.
We all signed these, right?
Nope.
Oh, no, just one, just more.
Just one.
Wanna look at it.
Weston and Sampson has an open house, they're moving to Reading, that's it. And then otherwise,
We already have plenty of items for the next agenda.
yes.
Okay.
And then it would-
Street update, and that's gonna get like, replace all the sewer line.
The only thing, Ryan, I'm going to stop you because we have to get to executive session
Right.
before 8:30, so.
I don't have any update. I know that they were completing work. I know Jack wants to do something with the Summer Street meter when it's complete, and it is not yet complete for him to do that, so.
Let's see, do you have another public comment?
I don't, but whoever left it back here, don't forget it.
That's me.
All right. So, adjournment of regular session and motion to enter into executive session.
I move we adjourn.
Sure, yeah, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And not to resume, right? Not to
And not
come
to
back
resume
to.
this meeting, right.
Okay, thank you. 15.
I don't like,
Good to see you,
Thank you, Matt.
do I have to read this whole thing?
Yes,
Heather?
please.
Okay. So we're going to go and,
Go off air.
no, I have to read this before we go off air, don't I? Or do we go off air first?
Oh, no, you're right, you're right.
Go ahead.
I thought so, okay. To discuss strategy with respect to litigation pursuant to GLC 30A, S21A3, regarding enforcement of the allocation agreement between the Sewer Commission and Robert A. Leverone, Lunenburg Nominee Trust, because discussion in an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the litigating position of the Sewer Commission, and the chair so declares.
And then motion and roll call vote to go in.
Okay, we already had a motion by Carl, a second by Ryan. Roll, so we need a roll call vote. Carl? Aye. Ryan?
Aye.
Joan? Aye.
Okay.
So now we're effectively going into executive.